All right, so this one's a classic, just a black on black, always looks good. This particular one, we have the Kmc Summit Wheels. These are 17 inches. We prefer 17. I really like the look of that, made it with the 35-inch tires, gives you tons of rubber, authentic off-road look. This has the Territory MT Wranglers. That is the same tire that comes on the Sasquatch package. It's very, very popular because it looks great, not super expensive, and like I said, it comes on the Sasquatch package, so it gives you a little bit of that factory authenticity. And that made it with these Kmc Summits. This is a classic black on black Bronco. All right, so we named each one of these, and we'll start with this one. Black on black. To me, that's just makes me think of a smooth criminal. All right, this Warthog is probably one of the better looking ones. The contrast to the white to the black wheels always looks incredible. You really can't go wrong with your choice of wheel if you're doing white on black, but this particular wheel, this is the Fuel Nitros. I like in this case because it has a little bit more detail on the inside, a lot of different surfaces. It's dished out just a little bit. Of course, they're 17s. Really a nice little classic looking wheel mated to this white, so it doesn't overpower the look. It gives you some detail without being too flashy. Really great combo with the white. And this is mated to the Firestone Destination XT, which is not too overly aggressive. It gives you a great ride, not really much road noise at all. Really a nice mating to this for a good lift, a good look without being too overly aggressive. This is a very classic matchup. All right, so this one, it's, bright lights, white, looks great with black wheels, but it kind of makes me think of a high-end kitchen appliance, so I call this one the fridge. All right, this one, mean green. This is one of my favorites, and I mean absolutely favorites because it stands out. I mean, this thing gets noticed. That green paint that came out in 2022 is an incredible paint. You can do so many different things. We've done black wheels with it, which I think look great, but if you really want to stand out, this green with bronze wheels is an amazing combo. If you're into bronze wheels, it goes great with black, I think, and it goes great with this green. Are probably two best colors. But these are the Fuel Zephyr wheels. I love them because they kind of have an industrial look, but they're not too military-ish. They're right in between, and they look great because these are 37-inch tires. These are Toyo Open Country RTs. They're 37s. So you got a ton of rubber here, and that's why I love the bronze look to that, because it doesn't get lost in all that rubber. So you get a great off-road look. The wheels stand tall. They match the green so well. This is a 3.5-inch lift. I mean, there's so much right about this Warthog package that I think just absolutely just screams not only ruggedness, but well thought out and well put together. This is absolutely one of my favorites. This one speaks for itself. I mean, it's obviously mean green. All right, this has got a little flair on it. I like this one too. This is another great look with bronze wheels. And the kind of direction we took with this was maybe a bit more festive. You can see the factory package stripe on there. It has, you can't see it maybe so well in this photo, but it has a lot of different colors. If you look closely, we painted the Bronco letters to match this stripe. There is the exact number of colors on the stripe that there is in the Bronco lettering. So each color matches one of the shades on that stripe, which I really like that level of detail in this Warthog right here. Match that with the, these are Kmc Dirty Harry's, is what they're called, the Dirty Harry's wheels. This has an offset. Now, if you don't know what an offset is, it's basically how far the wheel sticks out away from the actual hub of the car. This one is more closer to a factory offset. Factories sit nice and tight. They don't sit way far out. It helps with driving dynamics. You don't have a wheel way out there throwing up rocks. There's a lot of reasons they do that. Well, a lot of off-road wheels have a much further offset and they sit further out. So when you see that poke where they go beyond the fender flares, well, that's because the offset of the wheel. In this case, this is almost a factory offset. It's just slightly a few millimeters less than a factory offset. So it sits real tight. So it has a factory look to it and it has a factory ride quality to it. Now with that, since you're closer, we chose some tires that do not have a lot of bulge to them. This is a narrower tire. Once again, going to have a much more factory appeal to it. In this case, this is a Bridgestone Dueler, which is an incredible tire. A lot of people use this on their F-150s and other trucks because they hold up really well, they ride great, they're a quality tire. It just doesn't have a huge knobby off-road look. So that's what this is, more of a factory style upfit. Narrower tire, good ride quality, not super aggressive in the tread, a narrower offset that sits close to the vehicle. But what we did to kind of give this thing the flair is that stripe in the painting of the Bronco. So this is a much more, I would call, a subdued look to it, but also has a lot of personality. And I'm really proud of how this one turned out. The coloring and everything on this is a little bit retro. It's, the flavor of this kind of makes me think of like a 70s, like funk video or something. So I call this one Free Ride. Okay, this is the first 3.5-inch Warthog that we did with 37s. And this one is classic, but aggressive at the same time. With that paint of the Cactus Gray, which everybody loves. It's a very popular paint. You don't want to go too crazy with the other colors because it's a very kind of muted, subtle tone, and it has a retro feel. So if we're going to add some off-road cred, we're going to lift it, just kind of simple stated is really what's going to work well with this one, is what we thought. So this Warthog has the fuel covert wheels. This is an enormously popular wheel. If you're looking on the internet and you see some of these things, you see this wheel on a ton of upfits because it's a great looking wheel. It's got a lot of style, it's got a lot of surfaces, it's got textures, it's really great looking. What we chose in this one is a black and a gray two-tone. So we thought the softness of the gray would really match that Cactus Gray on the car without going just all black. Once again, you got 37-inch tires here, and there's a ton of rubber. It's all black. If you do a blackout wheel, it almost gets lost. So that subtleness of the gray really helped that wheel stand out, let you see the contours of it, matches that Cactus Gray really well. So I love the way that turned out. So once again, this is a 3.5-inch lift, 37-inch tires, very knobby tires. It's an aggressive package, but it doesn't look like that when you see it all proportional. And that's because that wheel with the two-tone of the gray, it matches a nice soft match to that Cactus Gray, tones everything down where everything looks proportional and it all comes together cohesively. That's why I'm really proud of this one. It's aggressive without being over the top. All right, this one, 37-inch tires, 3.5-inch lift, but it's also got a really classy paint scheme. I don't know, for some reason this one spoke to me. I call it Bad Baby. All right, this Warthog right here is very simple, very toned down, and it's basically to give you an enhanced look without really doing too much to get out there where you're like, that's too much. Very classy look here. So this is a Method Race, what they call the 305. It's got a machine face, matte black ring. It's got some detailing in the lugs there, and it's painted black on the interior of the wheel. Very, very classy wheel. Method really, they don't go overboard. Everything is very well thought out, very clean, very well done. This is a great looking wheel. Mated to the Toyo Open Countries, which is a great tire. It does have a bit of more of a square off to it on the tops, so it gives you a pretty good off-road look, even though it doesn't have huge lugs. Toyo makes a great off-road tire. I think it works well, especially mated to this wheel right here. So this is the very first one we lifted, and it was just a real clean look. Let's not go overboard. It'll give you that machine look, very classic. Really a great way to enhance your Bronco without saying, well, I don't want it to look like a kid's car. I don't want to look over the top. This is an adult's Bronco, is what I like to say. All right, this one, the machined wheels, the paint scheme, it's just, everything's real smooth on this. It's real classy, so I call it the smooth operator. All right, this one I really like too, and the reason is this is another choice of not going just simple blacked out wheel. This is a Kmc Trek. Great looking wheel, a lot of detail, kind of has a honeycomb look to it, really catches your eye. Well, if you go all black on it, which I like, it looks great, it does get lost a little bit of the detail of the wheel. So this has almost like a pewter gray tone that you got to get in the sunlight to really tell that, because it's pretty dark. But I think it really shows the detail of the wheel very, very well, because this is an intricate wheel, so you want to really capture. So in this case, with that gray, it really kind of complements the Area 51 color on this. Really, with this color, I love going black or just that subtle gray because it matches that retro color. You don't want to do too much. The color speaks a lot on these things, but a normal Bronco might not have the best wheels, so that's why it's, adding that lift, adding those aftermarket wheels and tires, no matter what your styling is, can just do so much for that Bronco. And in this case, it's very understated, it's not too much, but it gives you the detail of the wheels, complements that color, and really makes it stand out. So that combined with the Nitto Ridge Grappler, which is a great tire. Nitto makes a ton of great tires. I like the Ridge Grappler because it gives you some off-road look, but it's not too knobby, not too crazy. And Nitto's drive great, not a lot of road noise. So once again, this is a Warthog that gives you some aggressiveness, but very understated, very well done. The Area 51's so retro, but you got the modern look of these Trek wheels with all the details. So this one I just think is kind of back in style. All right, so this is a bit more mainstream, 20-inch wheels. You can see we do a ton of 17s. That's twofold why we do a ton of 17s. First off, it gives you a lot of tire, a lot of sidewall. It gives you that great off-road cred, and also is functional. The more tire, the better the ride, and it also can actually, when you're off-roading, give you better grip. Now, this is more of a street Bronco, 20s. It still has 35-inch tires, so obviously you have less sidewall. It still looks great. This is just a bit more modern with the 20s, and this is the Fuel Maverick wheel. This is a very common fuel wheel that has a lot of detail. It's got different surfaces, different colors. It's a common choice. It looks great in this application. So this is more of our street look Bronco. This one, like I said, is more of like a street machine, the 20-inch wheels with these low-profile tires. Set up like that, you might actually end up curbing a wheel. So I call this one curb appeal. All right, this Warthog is really aggressive. This one has been wrapped. This has a matte black wrap. And then we decided that if you're gonna go down that road, then you might as well just black it all out. Let's just go all midnight on this guy. So we did the fuel coverts again, which is, like I said, is an extremely popular wheel. People love this wheel. In this case, we did go all black as opposed to that gray we did on the other one because we have the matte black wrap. I think it's best to just keep it all black. It's got 37-inch Toyo Open Countries. Once again, great tire, especially in the 37s. Frames the wheel very well. Good aggressive tire. It's right in the middle where it's not too knobby. I think it really matches well in the 37s. Probably my favorite 37-inch tire. Once again, 3.5-inch lift. So this one is just, they call it murdered out, all blacked out. Really looks great. If this is the kind of style you're into, I think it turned out great. Oh, and here we got a shot of my dog. This is Bunny. She's real ferocious, but she's riding shotgun. But she probably doesn't fit this car that well. I really think this is more of like a bachelor party cruising the Vegas Strip. So I like to call this one Dark Vegas. All right, here's a pretty darn classy one. Once again, the Cactus Gray, which I love the color. It does so much for the Bronco. But when this thing comes in with just the standard factory wheels, it's kind of ho-hum. Even with that great color, it just doesn't pop. So once again, 2-inch lift, 35-inch open countries. Really, I think a choice on this package is to have a very classy wheel, nothing too crazy going on. That's why the Method 315 is a great choice here. It's got some detailing, but it's not overly complex. And what I like about this wheel is those bronze little studs there for that detail right there. I think it gives some texture to the wheel, draws your eyes to it. It doesn't get lost in all that rubber where you notice the wheel itself and notice the detailing. And that bronze little detail right there matches that Cactus Gray paint, I think, incredibly. So once again, very classy look. But what's even more classy, take a look at the inside. The leather that we put into this, you can tell this is not factory leather. This is a quilted leather that we get from Catskin. We have a local installer that does this for us. This is a premium leather. It's not the standard stuff that they get. You can see the detailing, you can see the stitching. It's two-tone. Around the bottom of the bolster there is a bit of a different color. The gray on top matches that Cactus Gray almost to a T. It looks like it was supposed to come from a factory like this. If they could design one that looked this good, it would be a factory style. But this is probably one of the most put together Warthogs that we've had because everything works in unison. It's very classy, very well done. This one's got a little glitz, a little glam. It makes me think of like a celebrity driving around, Rodeo Drive. So I like to call this one Paparazzi. All right, another mean green. This is a base Bronco. Okay, base Broncos, if you've ever seen them, are pretty much no frills. They don't have a lot of the extra technological goodies, and a lot of your touch points are just simple black plastic. The grill's black plastic, your handles are black plastic. So, you know, it's purpose built. This is a Bronco. So, you know, a lot of people don't want it to be all fancy. Tons of people do, but not everybody does. That's why the base is such a great option to get in a lower price point and spend a little money on lift, wheels, and tires, and you've got a great economical way to get into an awesome looking Bronco. So this particular one, what I love about the green on the base is because you get drawn away from like that black plastic grill to the green paint. Draws your eyes, it's like a magnet. So we don't need to do too much to this, just complement that green paint. That's why you saw our one before that was a higher trim, that was an Outer Banks, so we could go a little bit more crazy with it. We gave it the bronze wheels, we gave it the big lift, all that stuff. In this case, let's just complement the green, make sure that it stays more of like an economical off-roader and not do too much. So in this case, we did the Black Rhino, what they call, this is a Ravine, the Black Rhino Ravine. Simple wheel, great looking, very purpose built. If you've ever seen Black Rhino wheels, they don't do a lot of over the top stuff. They do some, but very military style in a lot of things that they do. In this case, simple wheel, simple tire, the Goodyear Territory MT, that's the Sasquatch tire. It's just, this Warthog is basically the best way to get into a Bronco if you don't want to blow your budget out. And I think we nailed it on this one. Another green one, but this is a polar opposite. I guess not polar opposite, but a lot different than mean green. This is a little bit more standard issue, so I like to call this Army issue. All right, here's another simple Warthog package. Probably the most common that you'll ever see is black wheel, lift wheel, and tires on a dark color. Very common. Gray, awesome looking car, but you know, if you're not gonna lift it, it can get washed out. So let's lift it. Let's do a Warthog. 2-inch lift, 35-inch tires, the classic package with a great looking wheel. This is the fuel covert. I told you before, people love these things. They're super popular. They are hard to find. We cannot always get this wheel. As soon as we get a set in, if I give somebody options, they run right to that wheel. It's just everybody loves the fuel covert. So once again, fuel covert, this is a 35-inch. In this case, this is a Falcon Wild Peak, great tire. Classic looks, not overly knobby, really rides great. So that's always a good choice. When people ask me, they say, well, you know, I'm not going to really be going off-road. I don't want some big, you know, obnoxious tire. Falcon Wild Peak is a great choice, rides great on the road, looks good. And then, hey, this is just a classic. You know, we do tons of these, and everybody loves the way it turns out, really frames the Bronco well. All right, a classic setup, gray, black wheels, always looks good. But you know, you got a little goose in the caboose. This one's badonkadonk. All right, here's one of my favorites. This is a great combo if you're into the bronze wheels. I said earlier that the bronze, I really like the way it looked on that green and black. Well, here's a black example. And, you know, it's just gives you something different. If you don't want to do all blacked out, if you're into black cars, but you don't want to all black it out, this is a great alternative because it gives you contrast. That way you really see the wheel. This is a Method Race 305. We've seen that before in machined, and you saw it in black. This is in bronze. Great standard looking wheel, nothing over the top, very well done. It's got the black ring around it, so it gives you some contrast, and it just mates to that black and gives you something a little different if you're into the bronze. Not everybody's into the bronze. If you want to go all black out, I love that look too. But if you're into something a bit different, I think this is a hell of a way to go. It's mated to the Goodyear Wrangler Duratrax. I really like this tire. It has a good knob to it. When you see it on the wheel, it frames everything really well. I actually think it's one of my favorites for a 35-inch tire. But I love the contrast of this one. So if you don't want to try bronze, maybe reconsider, because if you see this one, especially in person, you'll love it. One of my favorites, you know, that just screams to me, this one I like to call Black Betty. All right, so here's another KMC Dirty Harry wheel that we did. You saw it, we did it in the bronze. In that particular application, the offset was very close to factory. This one has a bit more offset. It sticks a little bit further out. I believe on this one, these are all zeros, if I'm not mistaken. but you can see it pokes out a little bit more, gives you a little bit more aggressive stance, which I do love that. Yeah, I do like it when it comes out from the fender just a little bit. But this is a KMC Dirty Hair. It has a matte black finish. Hopefully you can tell in the photo, but it is actually a more of a rough texture on the wheel. If it's been smooth painted, you know, it's very smooth to the touch. This actually has some like, I guess, a rough texture to it. So something different. I really like the way this one turned out, made it to the black paint. Like I said before, black on black is awesome. You just saw the one with the bronze wheels. It looked great. This is more of a traditional black on black. You look at these two, you know, rewind it, go look at that one, look at this one. They both look incredible. They just have different missions. This one is more standard, you know, just street look, black on black, awesome looking. Wrangler Duratrax. It's funny, we use the same tires on both these black ones with different wheels. They both turned out great. Now, take a look at the tube doors. You want to go next level, make those tube doors on this thing, and that totally changes the look of this. Now you're talking about one mean machine. All right, earlier we had the smooth criminal. Well, somebody's going to have to, you know, bring justice to that criminal. And this one I like to call crime fighter. All right, back to another Area 51. This is a customer that wanted, you know, a blacked out looking wheel. In this case, I really like the choice of, this is a black rhino, what they call the Prim, black rhino Prim. One of my favorite wheels, hands down. I love it. And it's tough to see in the photo sometimes, and this was what you get with black wheels, especially in photos. Sometimes you can't see the detailing that well. Well, this one, if you want to zoom in a little bit, really has some nice kind of stately detailing to it. It's not over the top. It's a very clean looking wheel, especially for a black wheel. I love the bronze studs around it, and that bronze with the Area 51 gives it nice contrast. In this case, back with that Cactus Gray and Area 51, you don't want to do too much to these. The color says it all. All you want to do is enhance that, give it a bit of modern flair. This particular one with the Black Rhino Prim and this package with, of course, a 2-inch lift and 35-inch tires just changes a completely boring looking Bronco into something special. All right, this one, the wheels, the color, everything fits so well. It's one of those you call just right, so I call this one Goldilocks. All right, here's another clean look. Silver. You know, you don't see a ton of silver. And in the Bronco, I'm so glad this customer went with silver because he had exactly what he wanted in his mind, how he wanted it to look. And I think it turned out great. The silver, if you're going to do a black wheel, will make those black wheels pop really nicely. And in this case, this is a Method Con 6 is what this wheel is called. It's a really simple wheel. It's got big, wide little kind of arms coming out of it. Dishes out just a little bit. Classic look. This with a Nitto tire. This is the Terra Grappler. Great riding tire. Frames this well. This whole package really goes with the silver because once again with black wheels, especially these big black wheels like that on a blacked out tire, you know, it might get lost. But with the silver, it pops, everything fits, and this one turned out great. You know, something about this one, it just makes me think of Ringo, so we call it Ringo. All right, so this Warthog, this one is very specific. On consultation with this customer, you know, they had specific requests. They wanted to lift it, but they never had a lifted car. They, you know, didn't want it to be obnoxious. They didn't want to be over the top, you know, so, but they knew it would look good. So they said, you know, what can we do to enhance this without taking away from just being a really nice street driving car? Because they are not going to off-road. They are not going to get crazy with this thing. They just wanted a nice proportional look. All right, so this case, Method Con 6, great black wheel. They, you know, request number one, we do want a black wheel. Method Con 6 fits that. It's a very clean wheel. It appeals to a lot of people. It's not over the top with its detail. Looks great if you're just wanting a simple blacked out look with a wheel. The Yokohama Geolander tire that we put with this one is a very good kind of more of a street style tire. It's not super knobby. It is a 35-inch tire. It is an all-terrain, but it's more on the kind of, I guess, the good riding stride of it rather than the more aggressive looking stride of it. They are not going off-road, so they wanted to ride great. This is a great tire choice on that. Of course, 2.5-inch lift, and this is a very clean way to lift your Bronco. Everything is proportional. It doesn't look like you're trying too hard. This is just a classic look, and I'm really glad that I got a chance to do this for these people because it goes to show you, you don't have to be over the top to make it look great. This one with these black method wheels and the white, everything is just so clean. So I call it Mr. Clean. All right, this one has a bit of a youthful appearance. This is a young man's Bronco, so it has a very youthful kind of look, a youthful wheel. This is a fuel vapor. It is a bit more universal style wheel, I would say. It has a universal appeal. It's very youthful, like I said. I really like it in this application. It is mated with the BF Goodrich TAKO2s, which is a great tire, really right down the middle of off-road versus ride style, great quality tire. That mated to this fuel vapor wheel on this Area 51 really gives it a fun kind of, like I said, youthful Bronco appearance. Now, what really turned out on this one that is what we did afterwards. After this photo was taken, we had ordered a specialty bumper, took a while to come in, so here's what that looks like. And that completely changes the look of this Bronco with those LED spotlights, those two rounded lights, the LEDs in the middle of that bumper there, plus the worn winch. I think this is an incredible look, and that combined with those wheels and tires just makes this probably one of the more special Broncos that we've done. So this one is, the Area 51, with the hard top, with these wheels, and then everything kind of came together when we put that ARB front bumper on there. So this one is like winning the game. So I call this one touchdown. Okay, here's one we didn't even do ourselves. We had to deliver this Bronco remotely. It actually never came to our facility, never got a chance to do this Warthog for this gentleman, but he was kind enough to show us what he did. And this is, this is a very common street look. Chrome, chrome, chrome. I love the look. You can see what we've done a lot of. We've done a lot of black wheels, some bronze, a little bit of machined, but this is good old-fashioned street chrome. And, really with this blue color, this is that antimatter blue that is no longer available, which is a shame, because you can see when the sun hits this thing and when it actually reflects that blue color with that chrome, this is a good-looking Bronco. I'm really happy what he did here. I don't feel right naming this one because we didn't do this Bronco. Like I said, the customer did it. But it certainly got a little bling bling, so we'll just call it bling bling. All right, here's another change of pace. The one that the customer had done, you saw, was straight up chrome. This is a machined look. Still gives you that kind of street look, just not as bright. The chrome obviously is very shiny. The machined look is just a bit toned down. And this is another method race wheel. This is a 305 and complete machined look. This has the Goodyear Wrangler Territory MTs. Once again, this is the Goodyear Territory MTs. It comes with the Sasquatch package. Very common tire. Everybody loves it. It gives you good looking kind of mud terrain, but not huge lugs. It's a nice tire. It mates well to the machined look. Once again, that goes well with the Area 51. This is just a bit of a left turn than what you've been seeing. We wanted to try something different, see how that machine look mated to that Area 51 paint. I love the way it turned out because it's not going to look like everything else on the road. Just like our customers with the chrome wheels, it doesn't look like everything else, and sometimes you need to stand out from the crowd. I like the way this turned out. For some reason, I just think that the person that drives this is like a foreman on a construction site, I don't know why, but so that's why I call this one hard hat. And now for something completely different. This one is straight up factory that we just did a simple modification on. This is a Badlands, okay? And this was one of our mannequins. Every dealer got a mannequin. If you ever went and, talked to anybody other than here, they might have told you, well, this one's mannequin, we can't sell it yet. Well, this is one of ours. And with the Badlands, it comes with a beauty ring. There's a little colorful ring. From the factory, it's gray. It basically comes over the wheel, and it's not a bead lock, it's just a beauty ring, and it enhances the look of the wheel. Well, I thought it was a little plain, so what we did on this one is we took it off, we painted it to match the car, put it back on there, and it totally changed the look of this Bronco. That's the only modification other than a few other Ford licensed accessories. You can see on the front, there is a winch that we put on there. That is the Ford winch package. You have to have the HD, kind of modular HD bumper to be able to mount that winch on there. But that is a Ford licensed accessory winch. And then you can see the LED light bar, the rigid light bar, that is also a Ford licensed accessory on there. So this was basically all Ford stuff with a little bit of paint work, and you could say it really changed the look of this one without even having to do a lift, wheels, and tires. Well, this obviously kind of looks like a nursery rhyme or like a children's book, so I call this one Dr. Seuss. So this has the KMC Impacts. This is a great wheel. It's a little unique. I really like the way this turned out with that wheel mated to the 37s. I think it really stands out with that big tire. BF Goodrich TA KO2s are a good choice because on 37s, that's a big tire. It really is still going to ride great. I've been in this one, and it's very quiet. It rides great. 3.5-inch lift. But let's talk about all the other stuff. We have the rock slider steps. These things are pretty cool. You open the door and they actually come out. It's a power step, and it's also a rock slider. Those are outrageous. The front, this is a worn setup on the front. It's a worn bumper with a worn winch. We got some rigid lights in there. That when you change out that front bumper, it can be costly because these bumpers are, very heavy duty. You throw a winch in there; those are very heavy duty in the lighting. It is not cheap to change out your front bumper, but man, it really makes a difference. And then we got some pod lights on there, and we got a ton of other kind of additions on the inside and stuff that you can't even see here. But this one's wild. I think it really came out awesome. Well, this one has gadgets galore. It's got, rock slider step bars. Those are powered. It's got a worn winch on the front. It's got the rigid lighting in about 5 different places. There's tons of tables and accessories and drawers on the inside that you don't even see here. So this one kind of reminds me of the Batmobile. So it's the Batmobile. All right now, check this dude out. Black Diamond 2-door. Black Diamond is like the purpose-built kind of off-roader. It gives you, all the bash plates underneath, all the travel suspension and all that stuff. It doesn't have some of the exotic technology that a Badlands does, but it's still ready to go off-roading. So with this one, we thought we'd just amp that theme up, kind of make it the Warthog of a Black Diamond. Of course, 2-inch lift. These are Toyo Open Country MT, so the mud terrain version of the Open Country. Black Rhino wheels. These are very industrial, very off-road oriented. I love the package of that. And then you made it to this 2-door where it just looks like an old 70s military style, something that's designed to go through a bog, make its way through the jungle. I think this is an awesome look, and I think it's a winner. All right, so this has that rough and tumble look. It kind of makes me think of like a Hummer, and like the real military Hummer with those wheels and this look. And it kind of like Arnold Schwarzenegger drove one of those, because I can call this the baby Arnold. So that is a small sampling of all the Warthogs. I love to say Warthog. We co-opted this, word from Ford. They might, if they find out about it, they might get mad about it. But before the Bronco Raptor came out, they were saying that they had actually patented or trademarked or whatever the name Warthog. And it was an internal debate whether they were going to call the Bronco Raptor a Warthog or they were going to call it the Bronco Raptor. Well, obviously they went with the Raptor because that is, his name is synonymous with off-road capability. So I understand why they did it. So we're kind of using the term Warthog for all our upfits, and you can see if you've watched this whole video, there is a plethora of options that you can go with. You can go classic, you can go bright and shiny, you can go black, you can go bronze, you can go big, you can go small, you can go street, you can go 20s, you can do 17s. The world is your oyster. We want to do what the customer wants. Some people are very specific. This is the wheel, this is the tire, this is, okay, great, I'll give you what you want. You may need a little guidance. Hey, I want it to look really aggressive. Tell me what I should do. Okay, well, I recommend these tires with this wheel. What do you think? Oh, I love it. Let's do it. Or do you want a more street look? You saw the one where we painted the Bronco letters to match that stripe. That was a unique thing that was really fun. The customer, I think, just fell in love with it just because it's something different. We will do whatever you want. And even if you brought a Bronco from somewhere else, if you like this package treatment, we'll do it for you. I don't care. Bring your Bronco to us. I'll take care of you. I just get so much excitement out of seeing how these things turn out. You know, from the big, huge 3.5-inch lift, 37-inch tires, blacked out, you know, monster machine, which, you know, really I fall in love with those things. Or the more subdued, you know, just kind of classy, you know, small lift, you know, more off-road, on-road tire look. Either way, they all have their attributes and they all look great. So, you know, give us a call. If you're interested in getting a Bronco from us and us having the treatment, or if you already have one, we'll do it for you. Really, the most fun part of my job is going through this process with people. So I want to do more, so bring it to us. Now, don't forget, hit that like button. Hit the bell so you get the reminders. We post tons and tons of content. Bronco content, Lightning content, Ford recall content, new model introduction content. In the world of Ford, if you want news, we'll give it to you. So like our page, hit the bell, make sure you follow us. Thanks for watching.